We're in the first innings of a very painful downturn, but I don't care because all paths lead to Bitcoin. Look, if you own 0 Bitcoin at any age, you are doing it wrong. You're exposing yourself to more risk than if you actually had X% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. You don't need to understand how Bitcoin works in order to appreciate how valuable it is. So we could overthink it and trying to define what the outcome is, or we could just sit back and say, I don't care. Either way, you need to own Bitcoin.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto. With the current economic situation and the uncertainty it brings, it's time to provide an investment strategy for those who wish to make the most out of these difficult times. In a recent interview with the Understanding Macro podcast, Greg Foss, an experienced Bitcoin strategist, has shared a number of interesting thoughts in an enlightening conversation. Foss has stated that the global economy will definitely face difficulties in the near future. Therefore, it is essential for investors to make wise decisions and take advantage of any available opportunities. Bitcoin is one of those opportunities and is something that Foss describes as the best asymmetric trade he has seen, while providing people with a type of insurance against the certain debasement and failure of the Fiat Ponzi. According to Foss, the top cryptocurrency, which has gained over 80% year-to-date, is likely to become a risk-off asset that will safeguard investors from the chaotic traditional financial sector. Foss recommends that even those who are skeptical of Bitcoin should consider investing at least 5% of their total portfolio in it, leaving the rest in other assets. Greg Foss has some interesting perspectives on Bitcoin and why it's not as risk-prone as many people think it is. Let's hear him out as he further explains his price forecast for the cryptocurrency. But before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we bring you daily content on the latest crypto news. And now, let's jump right into the video.
Bitcoin appears to be risky, but the appearance of risk versus true risk are two totally different things, okay? I actually believe Bitcoin to be incredibly unrisky. In fact, I believe Bitcoin is insurance. And since it's insurance against the Fiat Ponzi, I advocate everybody needs to own some Bitcoin, or else they're actually taking higher risk by owning 0.
Yeah.
You need to own more than 0% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, or else your portfolio is actually higher risk than if you had a proper portfolio allocation. Now, the proper portfolio allocation is going to depend on the age, the family obligations of the individual, the lifestyle choices. Like if you absolutely have to live in a house, then I'm not going to tell you not to live in a house, meaning or own your own house. If you have to, just because that's your personality, that's fine. Just understand some of the risks that come along with owning a hard asset that's a house. So everything changes with your age, your income, your family responsibilities, your personal risk tolerance, and your lifestyle desires. But don't own 0. Look, if you own 0 Bitcoin at any age, you are doing it wrong, okay? You're exposing yourself to more risk than if you actually had X% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. And generally, for the non-believers, go and get 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not. You still have 95% of your portfolio in other stuff. And this 5% could literally go up 100-fold from here, which means that 5% turns into 500%, everything else being equal. That's beautiful. That's asymmetry. So I have a price target on Bitcoin of over $2 million per Bitcoin in today's dollars. I got to be real clear about that, in today's dollars, which again, given it's trading at 25,000, is plus or minus 100 times higher. Damn, that's a pretty decent friggin' return opportunity. It is a hard asset, so you know with 100% certainty that the fiat will debase. Right now, it's acting as a risk-on asset, but I believe over time it will act as insurance, and as insurance, it actually becomes a risk-off asset. But this is part of the learning process in markets. Let's play these two outcomes. Bitcoin can either be worth 0. I don't think that's even an outcome that would happen, but let's just, to make the math easy, a binary outcome, it's either worth 0 or $2 million US in today's dollars. I'm going to tell you, I'm about 50% confident in my price target. In fact, I'm higher than that. But to make the math easy, let's assume I'm 50% confident, or a 50% probability. you do what's called an expected value calculation, and you say, okay, 50% chance it goes to 0, 50% chance it goes to 2 million, sorry. 50% times 2 million equals $1 million in today's dollars. What's Bitcoin trading at?
25,000.
And my expected value outcome is $1 million. What are you supposed to do? If you've done your math and you believe in your math, yes, you take the bet. It's like going to a horse track where you've watched a horse train, and just like this year's Kentucky Derby, they laid 100-to-1 odds against that horse winning. And you're like, damn, these odds are wrong. I've watched this horse train. Now, I'm not 100% certain he's going to win, but I'm way more certain than 1 in 100. So what do? You go and you take that bet. And the guys that took that bet made out like bandits because they did smart risk management. Governments can't stop it. Adoption is increasing. Education is increasing, not just with Bitcoin, but how foolhardy our fiat system is. We still haven't talked about the regional bank crisis in the USA. This is why Bitcoin was designed, people. Okay? Bitcoin was designed in the last great financial crisis, 2008, 2009, 14 years ago, for the next financial crisis, which is now. Credit risk will increase when we hit the next recession. That's a guarantee. The problem is that banks' capital has gotten a hole blown into it from interest rate risk. Well, most capital guidelines are set for credit risk, not for interest rate risk, which means this came out of left field and blew up these banks' balance sheets, of which these talking heads said, oh, the banking system is well capitalized. Will you go pound sand? You have no clue what you're talking about, and it's not well capitalized, and they just blew their brains out on a risk that they weren't even supposed to be concerned about. We're in the first innings of a very painful downturn. But I don't care, because all paths lead to Bitcoin. So we could overthink it and trying to define what the outcome is, or we could just sit back and say, I don't care. Either way, you need to own Bitcoin.
Despite being only 14 years old, Bitcoin has already made a huge impact, but also stirred up a lot of controversy. In the interview, Foss tackled some of the frequent criticisms against Bitcoin. One of the main criticisms of Bitcoin is that it is not backed by anything, and has no intrinsic value. Critics also argue that if Bitcoin's value continues to skyrocket, people may not use it for transactions, thus making the idea of it being the world's reserve asset questionable. Let's hear Foss' opinion on this as he brings attention to other viable investment avenues besides Bitcoin.
Ask them if they understand the internet, and they'll probably say no. And then ask them if they use the internet, and they'll probably say yes. And then you say it's the same thing. Okay? You don't need to understand how Bitcoin works in order to appreciate how valuable it is. Is the internet valuable? Yes. What's it backed by? The network. Is Bitcoin valuable? Yes. What's it backed by? The network. Okay? It's exactly the same thing. And if you're too stupid to realize this, I don't know, Ryan, you and I are wasting our breath talking to a bunch of, people who don't deserve our breath because they're just too dumb to understand what we're saying.
How do you have economic growth if there's no incentive to spend the currency?
Okay, that won't happen because there's a price for everything. First of all, if you choose to own Bitcoin and not eat, you're going to die. So you have to actually spend some Bitcoin to eat, okay? And then you can say, well, I could pay someone to do this to fix my house. I'm not able to fix my house by myself, and I'm going to use Bitcoin. Because why? Well, the utility of me paying someone to fix my roof in my house is better than living in a leaky house and having all my Bitcoin, but not, living comfortably. So it's like anything, Ryan. Prices will rise to marginal utility, marginal cost. Where they intersect, you remember Economics 101? Doesn't matter what the unit of account is. Those two things will intersect and a transaction will take place.
What other opportunities do you see out there at the moment?
Yeah, I like hard assets. So I own gold, I own silver, I own oil, I own real estate. My biggest exposure is real estate. It's a lifestyle thing. I have 3 kids. We have a house. Shame on me, but yeah, we have a house. Like, that's just the way it works. Yeah. We have an investment property in the United States where we rent an investment property, but we spend some time there. That's a good investment. Neither of them are portable. If I have to move to El Salvador, these are going to go for sale at fire sale prices because you got to get out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So This is why you have to balance portability, transferability, scarcity, all the things that make Bitcoin beautiful. And you don't have to have all your assets in Bitcoin. I think we've laid out that scenario pretty well. So don't own zero. I mean, again, for anyone who listens, okay, please do some work. And you're not going to get this right away. It's going to take you some time. But understand how flawed the fiat system is, and then understand how beautiful Bitcoin is as a solution. Now, Bitcoin is the only digital asset that solves it. Ethereum is a proof of stake, centralized fiat asset, okay? Ethereum is exactly like fiat, but Bitcoin is not controlled by anyone. There's a fixed supply. Ultimately, it is the solution. It's the only digital asset that solves the fiat Ponzi. So be careful what you invest in and understand that Bitcoin is not crypto. Bitcoin is a standalone asset class within the crypto asset space.
Meanwhile, Bitcoin surged beyond the $30,000 mark for the first time since June 10, 2022, when it faced a sharp dip due to Terra Luna's collapse last year. The leading cryptocurrency gained 1.82% in the past 24 hours and over 80% year-to-date, reaching a price of $30,536. Analysts who are even the most pessimistic believe that $30,000 is a pivotal point which may indicate the beginning of a bull market. What do you think of Foss' prediction regarding Bitcoin's price? Do you think this is the beginning of the bull market? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This is Let's Talk Crypto, and we'll see you in the next video.